Hello, everybody. I am here for our Art Quilt Thursday. And if you're a member of our group and you can get to our group's IO site, I've got the pattern put there. If you can't, I will give you my email. In fact, let me do that really quick while I'm thinking about it. And I will be glad to send you the pattern and the images I'm using for inspiration. Okay, here we go. Let me see. Our time, whoops. Ay. Okay. Our time to quilt at twc.com. Hi, Alberta. I finally, let me see. Last night was Wednesday. I guess it was last night. I finally got my emails straight. I couldn't get your emails for a week. So, yeah, it was last night. I had to spend an hour on the phone with the Spectrum people. And it's like, and since you're so good and you're here on my Art Quilt Thursdays, I'll give you a little peek at something. Now, that's only one of hundreds of possible designs you could have. You know how on Sundays we've been working on crumb quilting? Well, I designed a quilt to go with crumb quilting. Okay? And oh, Jamie, it is so good to see you. Oh, yeah, I know you've been busy. This is one of the many designs you can make with the 6-inch blocks. And it's foundation piecing, paper piecing, easy. Sunday, I'll be sharing all of that with you. But people like Jody have already been making and gathering crumb quilts. And I thought, well, let's find something to do with them. So anyway, it is very good to see you. And we've got a lot to do tonight, so I'm going to be pretty quick at it. Let's see. We've got Marcia. Oh, there's Miss Jody. Oh, so Jody, I hope you saw that. Because I thought, okay, if we're going to make crumb blocks, we want to do something with them. Okay. And Marcia and Heather, whoops, I forgot. I need glasses now. I got my cataract done, and she warned me. She said, you're going to lose your reading vision, because I had been wearing reading glasses since I was 42. That's 23 years. But 6 months ago, all of a sudden I could start reading again without glasses. And I thought, wow. Well, it turns out that is a cruel trick they play on your cataracts play on you. Because evidently, I don't know if it keeps things bouncing in the right range, but she said to fix the cataract, you're going to have to lose that reading vision. I said, no problem. I've got plenty of cool little matching eyeglass holders, and I did it for 23 years. I'll do it again. So, but I got to tell you, it is amazing to see in such detail. My vision went from 20/80 to 20/20. You can't beat that. But the main thing, besides having all of the in-depth, I can see leaves, I can see textures, I can see dirt around the house that I had been missing, but I can see so much better. But the colors are brighter because a cataract just kind of dulls everything down. So I'm very happy, but you'll have to get used to seeing me with my glasses again. I cannot read without them a bit. Okay, so let me see. Oh, Hetty's here. Hi, sweetheart. Alberta's here. So glad to see her. Polly, happy birthday to Polly. Yay, Polly's birthday this week. Charlene Lawson, wonderful. Uh-oh. Alberta. Oh, okay. So my email was down for a week. That's why you did that. It should be up now, and you should be able to email me, and I can converse with you. It took until last night, a whole 8 days to get my email back. So that's why, Alberta, keep trying again. It'll work this time. All right, let's see. But I really was offline. Jeannie is here. Hello, hon. And Jamie, it is so good to see you. How have things been going with your crafting station and doing all of that? I'm so excited for you. And please say hi to Miss Crystal for us. Okay, it's Charlene Pfeiffer. So good to see you. Oh, thank you, hon. And Charlene, I don't know if you did last time or not, but I would love for you to type in your Etsy shop so people can see your wonderful stuff. I always mean to write it down where I can see it, and I forget or I don't bring it down here with me. So if you could type in your Etsy shop, I love to give people. Edwinice is here. Betty is here. I like to give people a good thumbs up for the work they're doing. So, and you never know, people might need gifts for other people, and if they can find it, that's a good thing. But please feel free. Working on the quilt, the needle keeps breaking. Don't you hate that? I had to take my machine in before I had my cataract surgery. They fixed the stitching beautiful because it was really whacked out of time. Unfortunately, every time I pushed the thread button, it would grab my thread and tangle it. So I had to keep taking the needle plate off and trying to straighten out my thread. So I took that today, and he will call me soon as it's done. You're done traveling for work back home? Oh boy. Let me tell you, I spent weeks on this craft on my room trying to get it straight. So I know at least you have a good excuse. You were traveling. But anyway, don't forget, Charlene Pfeiffer, just feel free to type in your Etsy name of your shop so people can find you. So anyway, this morning, my alarm didn't go off, and I jumped up and went, oh my gosh, I've got my 1 week checkup from my cataracts, and I jumped in the shower, and Mark was like, what can I do for you? And I got out of the house, and I was running a little late. And then I tried to get into the parking garage because the eye center is at the big hospital. So I tried to get into the parking garage, and I'm driving around. There are like no parking spaces to be found. Finally get one way across, and I walk all the way, get to the eye center. By this time, I'm a few minutes late, and pull a number, go sit down, get up there. And she wanted to know my name and birthday, and she seemed having trouble finding me. And then she went, oh, ma'am, your appointment's tomorrow. So I had woken up too early, rushed, took a shower, tried to get ready, done all of that, had to pay the parking lot fee because I just didn't double check the date of the appointment. I was thinking a week. I had it done a week ago. So anyway, tomorrow I'll go back. But while I was out, I went ahead and dropped off my sewing machine. Oh, it's like, oh my gosh. So I dropped off my sewing machine. Then I went to Lowe's to pick up a whole hose bracket we had ordered. While I was there, have y'all had any problem with your petunias just kind of like dying? Just all of a sudden they up and die. Well, I saw they had baskets with big petunias, $5 a piece. Bought 2 of those puppies, came home, hung it up, and went, I'm done. So anyway, I'm hoping they'll be happy here. They've got to be happier here than at Lowe's where, it's kind of rough and rugged there and trying to wait to get watered and all that stuff. So anyway, all right. So Miss Polly, I'm going back there tomorrow. So I will let you know what day next week, and I know that you have your kitty day, so we'll make sure. But anyway, I'm tired. So I sat on the couch and I started to go through. There's like 1,700 email. Hundreds have piled up since I didn't have email. So I'm starting to go through them and I'm nodding off, falling asleep. But I had to drive to Greensboro, which is on the far side of Greensboro, which is an hour away. And you know what? There are some things I liked about the pandemic shutdown. I don't like driving in traffic. I don't like driving in cities. And Greensboro's a lot bigger than we are. And it was just a mess. And so, whew, oh my goodness, you got one eye open. Oh, Hetty is so cute. Yeah, she's in South Africa. Isn't that neat? I wish we could hear her accent. I'm sure that's a really cool accent. So anyway, but let's get busy because we have a fun quilt to do. And I can't wait to show you a few techniques to create depth, perspective, and I thought I saw something outside the door. Mark's already put the garbage container out. But anyway, and how do we make it look misty and give a distance? And I've got a couple tricks to show you there. So let me show you what I've done so far. So if you belong to our group, you can definitely get the pattern. If you don't belong to a group, send me an email to that Our Time to Quilt site that I typed in, and I'll be glad to send it to you by email. Then all you have to do is print it out and put it together, okay? And this time I went ahead and colored it in some because I kind of wanted to give you an idea of a few things off the bat. But one thing I didn't show you good enough is some of these that go across, we're going to have them darker. So it really emphasizes that they're closer. And this, all the light color is where the sun's going to be coming through. And in fact, do you see somebody had wanted to put rays coming through the woods, and I'm going to show you how to do that too. So these are, it's 4 pages, and if you can print them out, I numbered them 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm taping them back together. And this one should be fun. Some of the landscapes get a little busy and complicated. This is going to be a pretty easy one. Okay? So I'm going to finish taping this back together. Now, if you print yours out in black and white, you might want to tape yours on the back so you can color it in. Or if you want your colors to be a little different, you can tape it on the back so you can color the entire front. Now, how I am taping this together is this is page 1, this is page 2. Okay, here's number 1, here's number 2. Number 3 is right here, and number 4 is kind of tucked under there. So, and if you have printed them out, you can kind of see where I had them, where they overlapped, okay? I didn't draw registration lines on this time because I wanted to do the coloring, and I thought it might be too confusing between the colors and let me turn this off. Between the colors and the different trees, I didn't do registration lines, but you can kind of see how they went together because I drew it in 4 pieces taped together, then took it apart, scanned it. Okay, so here is my muslin, and I keep plenty of muslin on hand because I use it as the base to almost all of my art quilts. All right, let me get my glasses on to see what, okay. This is the right side, okay? Now, I've taken and I've starched it well. You sure may, Marcia. And Marcia, I don't know if you can get on the group's IO, but you'll see my post. But if not, I will write your name down and email it to you. So, Marcia, and probably Hetty also. All right, so now, I took and starched the muslin. You can use whatever light color fabric you have. And it's mostly going to be covered up. So if you don't have a pale light color, any color you want that's relatively light. After I starched it, on the back, I have ironed fusible interfacing. Okay? So now it's got fusible interfacing on the back. Now, I put this on a light box. I got this light box from somebody selling it at a retreat for like $10 or $15, and I snapped it up. One day, I'd love to get the nice flat light boxes. So that'll be coming one day. But for right now, this works great. Now, let's say you don't have a light box. What in the world can you do? Well, that's easy. I would take and tape this up on a window during the daylight behind it, then tape this over it, and off you go. Now, what I did also is I took my fabric and I ironed it in half and then in half again. And I did that so that I could kind of line the fabric up with the drawing. And that would help me stay exactly where I want to be to trace the pattern down. And why draw it twice? So why the interfacing? The interfacing is a stabilizer. Now, let's say you don't have any fusible interfacing. You can put just about anything under your fabric and then kind of baste a few lines across. And it just helps to have this basted because when it comes time to do any kind of thread stitching, it will really, and then you're sewing down all the different pieces of fabric. It'll hold everything in place and keep it from pulling in too much. It will keep it from bunching up. It'll keep it much better in place. Now, I'm going to use a pencil and a white eraser or a gum eraser. And I'm going to go ahead and do this because I'm pretty much going to be covering this all up. And I love, Polly, that you ask questions. That really helps me teach you. Okay, so then I just kind of press down on this light box and start drawing patterns. And on here, I put the wrong line on it, and I just put X's. So if you ever see a line on the pattern that's got X's, that means ignore that. So I'm not going to draw that on. And then here are where I want to have some branches hanging out over. And so I draw the outlines, and it doesn't have to be exact. You can do them different. This is just gives you something to work with to kind of get you started. Now, also, if you belong to our website, Groups.io, and anybody that wants to join, and if I recognize your name, I will send you an invitation to join. But on the website, I have the two pictures that I used as my main inspiration, okay? And so now I'm just drawing the outline of these trees. Now, if normally I don't use pencil if any way that this is going to show. But since this is just the base to hold all of the other pieces of fabric, and I will make sure that they cover it up. And if I have to erase, use a white or gum eraser. And you know what, let me turn back off that light. This camera is very sensitive to light. Let me see if that's, well, it might. I think now it's darkening because, let's see. I think it's darkening now because of the light box. So it's not an expensive camera, so I can't ask but so much of it. So, all right. So see what I'm doing? I'm drawing all of the basics in. That's just to help get you to the fun part, okay? feel free to change anything. You're never going to hurt my feelings if you change up what I do, because I want this to be your art, and whatever works to help you create, that's what I'm happy with. Okay, so here's some little trees. And soon as I draw a few things on here so that I have a basis to work with, I'm going to explain to you how I got this. Okay. What I'm trying to do in this piece is I'm trying to give you foreground, middle ground, and background, or far away, because I'm trying to help you practice what the difference is, what materials you can use, and techniques to really make it look like you're looking through a woodland to what's behind. And I just thought about Misty Woodlands because I've got a trick with tulle and fabric that can make it really easy. And look, you don't have to tell people how easy it is if you don't want to. Let them think you worked hard, or feel free to just tell them, oh man, if you try the right tricks, you can do a lot. So it's up to you whether you tell them how easy this is. I'm drawing around, now I used the light and dark and the shading to give you ideas, because I wanted you to have what I was seeing in the two inspiration photos. But feel free to do anything. Yours could be a fall time of year. And if you like the fall colors, oh yeah, that would be a lot of fun. And it makes it real easy. And you can do confetti with, you can do confetti work, confetti applique for the leaves on the path and in the forest. Okay, now, all right. I can't draw everything because I want to start working on it and showing you. But just remember, woodland has lots of trees and not a lot of branches, because in the woods, they're all competing for the same amount of sunlight. Okay, let me get a little bit of this here. I want to be able to give you a pretty good cross section. One thing I'm trying here too is there's a winding path, okay? But I'm going to try to somehow convey that this side is up on a hill. So I'm going to go ahead and draw, whoops, hold on. This is why you want a white eraser. If you have a red or a blue eraser, it will leave pigment behind, because they do put pigment in those erasers. All right. So then I wanted a branch to come across like this, because I saw in one of the photos they had a branch that did that, and it was so pretty. It offered like a canopy over the road. And the main thing is to get enough trunks that it really looks like a forest, because that's what it is. So here we go. All right, I think now I might have enough. Okay. Let me see. I'm going to get ready and turn off this light too, because it's really keeping you from seeing much of what I've got on. But as you see, I just quickly draw out. I do not take a lot of time in doing this, because I just want to know about where to put it. And then when I cut my fabrics, then I will take the time to make a cut that really looks good. All right, I think I've got enough now. All right. Yep, I think I've got all my major, whoops, I forgot this. And all of these leaves, these branches that stick out, They give the layering to make it look like real woods. All right, now I'll take this off. Whew, thanks. That was hard on my eyes, especially I now my eye is no longer dilated, so I don't have the pain from looking into bright light. But now since I can see so much better, boy, light is brighter. So cataracts are like looking through wax paper. You know, it's just a lot calmer. Okay. What I'm doing, let me go ahead and take out the pattern so I can show you what I was thinking. And this will also let you know if you've missed any big areas. All right, this is what I'm thinking with this pattern. You're coming into a darkened woodland. Over here is nice and dark and a little bit spooky maybe, but it's the nice, thick, dark woodlands. There is a path that's running through. And you'll see a line. You can tell because I tried to do this a little darker. This is the first shadow line that goes across. So anything in this bottom eighth of the work is going to be darker. Then this is a little bit brighter. And then and so in between here and here is a little bit brighter. Then there is a line here, and you might be able to see it when you print it out. Lighter line, and it kind of goes across. What you're looking at is you're looking through the woods, and further down the trail, it opens up, and the sunlight is coming in here. So that's why I colored this so light. And these two trees and this tree right here are going to be your foreground trees. They're going to be darker. They're going to, hello, Kathleen Champ. Huh? Oh, yay. And these are going to be the trees where you see the bark, where you can see the leaves better. They're your foreground trees. And I'm going to try to make this come down a little lower. Then, and see this one comes down over here. This just might have to have a lot of bushes in front, or I'll see if I can make this come down. Because sometimes you have to kind of spell it out, you know, because if you have these at the same height, the root ball, they look like they should be in the same place, even though this one might be behind this more because of the lay of the land. So it's better if you can make the root ball come down here. Then these are going to be the medium ground. Foreground, medium ground. This tree right here is going to be foreground, and the trees to its right are going to be background. So we have three different, in all that we do, we're going to have light, medium, and dark. Okay? So just tell yourself you want three different, you want light fabric, light greens, light yellows, light browns. You want medium greens, medium yellows, medium browns. You want light grays, medium grays, dark grays. And then you want, did I say the greens? The yellows and greens. You're going to want light, medium, and dark for each of these. When you go looking for fabric, that's what you're looking for. Now, let's say you're a little bit short of, like, let's say you only have one good, really good tree brown. Okay, now I went over there and tried to pick out light, medium, and dark in all different colors. But let's say this is all you've got and it's very dark. Well, when you need a light color, think about using the back of the fabric. Okay? So, oh, Kathleen Ziegler, hi, sweetheart. Think about using the back of any fabric, because if it's lighter, this can make it look like a tree, but in the mist or in the distance. See what I'm saying? You're right, Kathleen. Foreground, medium ground, background. All right. Now, so we're going to use color and intensity to show foreground, medium ground, background. And our other trick that we're going to use is some white tulle and some gray tulle. And I happen to have a dark tulle, gray tulle like this. I even have found a medium gray tulle. This is so cheap. So when you go to like a Joann's, mostly grab in the whites and grays, because you kind of want neutrals, and more of the grays neutrals or the beige neutrals than even the white, okay? But I've got 3 different tones of this. And when you put this on the fabric, it will start to instantly tone it down and push it into the background, okay? Let me show you that. Let's see if I can bring this down. Okay, here are those trees. I'm going to put 2 layers on the trees. It instantly pushes it away. See how it's more right in your face? Then you put this over and it tones it down. All right, but the tulle goes on last, so you have time to try to find some. All right, and a little bit of tulle goes a long way, so don't worry about getting too much. So you're walking in, your trees in the foreground are right here and right here, and they are going to have your first tree fabric. You decide I'm going to make my path a gray. But, oh, I'm so tickled, Jeannie. I love doing this. Hi, Brenda. I'm so glad to see you again. But I think I'm going to use a gray. So, and as you can see, now this is how come my room gets messy easily. Because I took one of these. I love these project trays that I made out of foam core board and a hot glue gun. But I just went around and started grabbing light, medium, and dark yellows. All different. Look, doesn't that look like a neat background fabric? You want to have the fabric do the work for you. For the foreground, you can have some leaf definitions. Okay, here is a wonderful dark. Now, it's paisley, but if you just cut out a tree, that looks like bark. And don't forget, you can always add more of a bark feeling with your thread painting. So I just got light, medium, and dark of everything. I thought this kind of looks cool for the background. All right, so all kinds of, and look at this gray. Isn't that an interesting color? So I just went through my fabric with my tray handy. The yellow-green area? That's going to be really pretty because you want some of them washed out. Look at that. Doesn't that look like green that's behind the, this is going to be the green behind the mist. See how it's just dulled down? And it's perfect for looking like it's in a Misty. I have scrap bags that I bring that have all my leafy colors. Let's see what else I chose. Here, I have a gravel fabric that I might use for the road, for the pathway, pardon me. And see some of these? Depending on where you put this, it might get, I want as much development as I can get. Okay. I want the colors and everything to be developed. So I tried bringing over some little stone patterns. And, oh, here is a tree fabric. And this would be perfect. Watch this. Okay, so it's nice and dark here. But then you flip it over, it's instantly 10 feet further away. Isn't that cool? Oh, I went through Joann's today. Oh, my gosh. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I went in my first, and remember that yellow area where the sunlight's coming in? This is going to be how you bring the sunlight in. For a dappled area that's a little bit dark and far away. So you just go and grab anything. Here is a great medium bark. Look at that. You just push it a little farther away. If you want to use it for if a tree even farther away, turn it over. And here is a tan version. This might be good to use back where the sunlight is. Diane 57, hello. Hello, Kathleen Champ. Laura's here too. This is great, boy. Oh my gosh, I think we got a record number for Art Quilt. I tell you, this is the single thing I get most requests for. Look at this for the dark and deep part of the forest. Because remember, if there's not light, there's not much color. This, I thought, might be really good for some of the yellowy areas. So we just want to pick. You see, I don't have that much of any of them, but I think it is a great selection. Never scoff at a quarter yard of fabric. Never scoff at people giving you a box of scraps, because with landscape quilting, you don't need big pieces of fabric. You need this plenty of little ones. All right, so now I'm going to move this over here, but I've shown you what I've chosen, and this could be the path a little further away in the lighter area. Now let's say I want everything to look like, you see everything in the lighter area, you want it kissed by the sun rays coming through. Then you could take this and you could take ink tints or watercolor and you could put a light yellow wash on that to give it that kiss of sunlight. So I think now I've got you understanding, but what we're going to do is we're first going to lay in the light colors before we put these across, because some of these are going to be dark. They're much closer in the foreground. And when you have a dark branch of leaves in front of all that light, you instantly get depth. So that's what we're going to work on. So I think what I might start with first, a lot of times with landscapes, you start at the top and work your way down. But I work best when I go with my gut instinct. I'm happier that way, and it's whatever feels comfortable. And so most of the time, if you're doing a ocean or a field with the sky and all, I say start at the top. But here, I'm going to start at the bottom and go up, mainly because I want to get these trees very grounded. So what I think I'm going to do is pull out these gravels again, these gravelly colors. I had one more. Let me find it. Okay. Hold on. Let me find it. You could even almost use that in the light part of the gravel too. Where is my other gravelies? Okay, this. All right. Now, I grabbed this pretty quick, but what I would normally like to do is have my fabrics in stacks by tones, by textures, and then that way you can immediately see what you've got and grab it. I'm going to, let's see. I want to look at my grays here and see what I might try taking this for my first layer. And one of the things I do miss about going to quilt shows is I miss Oh, I forgot to bring my glue. Let me see what I've got handy. And I'm going to go ahead and use this tacky glue, but you can use school glue. Just know this holds faster, sooner. All right. So real quick too, let me see. I want to show you the two inspiration photos. For those of you who don't have the pattern yet, let me show you so that you can, now that I've shown you what my pattern looks like, let me turn off this light. All right, let me go to the pattern. I get so excited when I start a new quilt. It is so thrilling. It's my main inspiration. Pardon me. Okay. This is where I got this tree from and this tree. That's where I got that idea. And I knew I wanted light back here. But I didn't want a straight path. I also knew that I wanted some of the shrubbery, the wild shrubbery. All right, the next, let me bring this back down. So my next inspiration is right here. And this, in some ways, was my biggest inspiration. And this is more of a paved road, but I want mine to look more of a quiet, gravelly footpath. And this is where I got the idea of the tree coming over here. And so the other one has the trees up front. These trees are just, most of them way back. But this is where I got the idea of having those trees in that misty fog back there. But now see how everything is very light. So you're either going to use the back of your greens or extremely light greens and yellows, but it'll give that touch of the sun coming in. Remember what I told you though, when you're all done with this back area, then you'll come in and layer leaves in the foreground, because that really gives you the depth, the look of depth. Now this has a flat side over here. Let me see if I can find the one that I used to get the hill. Because I look at all of the photos that I've amassed. I go on Google and I start looking. And hold on, let me see. I go on Google. This might be it right here. Yes, this is it. Okay. So this is actually from a curtain, I think. But I loved how this kind of went up on the hill. And anytime you can add undulation to the land and distance and depth, and it also made me really love having a tree over the road. Okay, so I'm trying to give you a few ideas. Now, I have put, I don't know if I actually put, but I will put all of these photos on our website so that you can look and you might see something that, ooh, I love that. But what I want to show you here, okay, these are the foreground, okay? This is middle ground. This is a more foreground, but see how this is more blurry? That's middle ground. Then you have the background. And see that tree? Now, we're not going to rely on tulle to do it all. We're going to come in with a very light fabric, just dark enough to show that it's an outline of a tree, then put the tulle over it, okay? And in fact, in this case, I would put the tulle, then come put these leaves in the front, because that'll help. Sewing that on will help hold the tulle in place. But I hope I'm giving you a few good ideas of how we're going to achieve this look. But man, I have pictures. Let's say you love, love, love purple. Well, you could do a Misty Woodland in purple. This is your work, your land, your baby. Let's say you really want it golden. Then here is one. And this is cool because it has a divergent path. So that's kind of cool. Like which way should I go? Then I have beautiful teal woodlands that I found. Look at that. Isn't that just darling? That's more fanciful. And then, oh, I love blues. So this is really awesome. And I love this because it's got like fall leaves here, but then that blue. Okay, so as you can see, and here is a mint colored, I guess you would call it, almost a turquoise. So just know that here's orange. Some of you might like the fall colors because fall will be the next season. And see how easy it would be to do a fall scene if you have enough of those colors. Now, here are the sun rays coming through. And let me see, there was another one that showed some pretty good sun rays. Let me see if I can find it. No, that one does pretty good. But there was another one, and we are going to work on having the sun rays. There is one, and I'll make sure I find it. But there is, oh, here it is. There are some that have really good sun rays coming through, and that's always really romantic and pretty. You see that? And so what we're going to work on is there's a couple ways I think we can do it. We can take an ink tint and make a swath through the fabric before we put on the tulle, or we can color the tulle, one layer of the tulle, and put it on with the other layer over it, or we can try to look for an even lighter piece of fabric, but still be able to show the trees through. So we're going to work on doing that. And I love in this one the dead branches, because in a forest, once the branches cannot get enough sunlight, they just die off as the tree grows taller. So that's a nice touch to put in your woodlands too, to say, hey, this is woodlands. Because you don't realize when you're looking at it, you just know it looks right. Okay, so there we go with that. And I'm hoping, let me come back and see if you have, that's bright. Okay, let me see if you have some questions. But I'm trying to, and you could even do a snowy woodland too. Hi, Alexis. So good to see you. Isn't that fall one gorgeous? So I've got all kinds of colors, and you can decide, I want to do this or I don't want to do that. So be thinking. All right, now I just take my little scissors, and you know what I'm going to do with this is I don't want it too uneven. Okay, you make it a little bit. You don't cut it with a rotary cutter. With this, you get up close and personal with your fabrics. Then I'm going to come in with some, I get to open this one. I get to come in with the tacky glue, and I'm going to put it down here. And I don't use too much glue. It looks like I'm using a lot, but what I'm doing is rubbing it around. All right. I lay it on its side, so, let me come back down. The photographs are, where did I get my wrench? Oh, did you somehow see this wrench? This works from my camera, but okay. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of times I will use school glue, but in this one, I want it to hold pretty good. All right, so this is my darkest, deepest color right here. And what I'm going to do is kind of lift it up, and these scissors need sharpening, so let me grab another pair. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of cut the pathway. And I just I do it nice and relaxed. This is supposed to be fun for me. But if you are nervous about doing it, you can draw the lines on it, whatever makes you happy, because this is more fun for me, but this might make you too nervous. So, and I just kind of cut. And so now this is got, and let's say I don't want it to have too many light areas. Well, I've got the basic dark fabric. What I can do then is come in and darken the light areas with ink tints. So, okay, little scraps like this I'm going to throw away. And then the bigger ones I just throw down there. All right, I think this might be a good medium tone. So let me see. I think I'm going to lay this in next. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to overlap. Since this is going to be seen standing up, the next piece should go on top of this, because that way you're not looking up at the seams. Let me see. Am I saying that right? Or should this, yeah, because if I'm going to stand this up, which way is the seam less noticeable? Okay? And you will end up sewing this down. But those are little things I like to do. Okay, so now we're going to come in with this, and I'm going to grab a piece that's more manageable. Let me look, and it looks like I always pull away my selvage. I don't like using selvages if I can help it. Okay, so something like this, I think, is going to be big enough. This, I'm pretty sure I won't use again, so I'm going to toss way over there. Now I'm going to come in with this tacky glue and do a little rubbing, because it really doesn't take much. You don't want to get it so stiff that then you can't do thread sketching on it. Okay, yeah, I think I'm going to want this to come down over it. Hold on just a second. Oh, okay. Let me see. I was going to try to find my sharpener. Well, pooh. I cleaned up so good I can't find my sharpener. All right, well, can't use that right now. But I know I've got that sharpener around here, so I'll go back to the long scissors. I love the snips so much better. So now I'm just going to kind of come in and do a relatively straight line that's got a few little gentle waves in it. Okay. See that? Then I'm going to lay it right here. Press it into the glue. Now let's say you're not brave enough to just go in there, just leaning it up and start whacking on it. Okay, I've got a chalk marker here, and I'll kind of come here like this, and I'm looking under, and I'm drawing. Let me pull it a little bit closer. I want you to really be able to see what I do, because I want you to be really comfortable with giving this a try. And the good thing is there aren't any grades. There's no deadlines. This is whatever you feel like doing. Okay, now I'm going to come over here and follow the line I've drawn on the fabric. And I try to make the fabric, one or the other of the fabric, a little bigger so that it will cover my pencil line. All right, I think I got that. All right, so now I've drawn on it with the chalk, and I just go along and give it a cut. Whoops. If you get off the line, just come back to the line. You'll glue it down. Nobody will know. All right. Okay. Now I'll come over here and cut this one. Now the plants and the greenery at the edge of the path, I'm going to have overlap the path just a little bit because that's just how nature works. And I doubt there's somebody that comes along and edges this path very often. All right, so here we go. And the line, the lighter line is going to be somewhere up here. So now I'll cut across this. Okay. All right, so there is my path. Now, if there's not enough contrast, I can come in here and I can color this a little darker. Or, likewise, I could come there. Where is my white tool? Here it is. I could come across. There's different ways. I have a white ink tint, but also I could come in here and place this on. And what I would do with the tool is I would tack it down in different places. Okay, so here is with the tool on it. And you can have 1 or 2 layers. See that? See how much lighter than that looks? That gives it the contrast. Or I could have turned this over, but then I think it would be a little too light. But what I would do with this, let's say I'm going to put the tool on. Then I would put dots of glue along this edge and maybe 1 or 2 in the middle and place that down. And then when you do, uh-oh, I've lost the chat. Hold on. I hope you're still here. Where is my chat? Who? Huh. I've lost the chat. All of a sudden I looked up and I thought something, and I don't like it when I lose the chat because then I can't tell if you're there and if you're hearing me. Where did I lose this to? Well, I'm going to hope you're still there. Oh, this is frustrating. Oop, my tummy just made noise. Now, let me see. Okay, I don't know where the chat went. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so I can put that on. I do like how that right there makes it much lighter. And I'm going to wait right now just because I want to keep working. The tool tends to catch on scissors and things. So I'm going to wait just a touch. Now, the other thing is, do I want to use this? Now, I don't think I'm going to want to use that because the gravel's too big. Now, I could put it on this side, but I'm worried it still makes the gravel look too big. Now, I could come in here, but that is quite a difference all of a sudden. So I may end up trying to use this. I have a feeling this is what I'm going to do. And then what I can do is with tulle or with ink tints or any kind of paints or markers, I can make it more gradual. So I'm going to wait on that right now. This I'm comfortable with. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in here with the trees. And let's see. Okay, these are good medium trees. Where are my dark trees? This is a great. Now, when you do a tree, the bottom's going to be darker than the top. So this is going to be in more shade down here. So it would be perfectly good to start with this as the very bottom of the tree. Let me cut this a little right here. Now we're going to have grass and stuff that's going to come up on the tree. But first, and I can always cut this off later. Remember I said that I wanted it to come down here, lower than the medium trees. So I'm going to put this glue right here. And then I'll put this across here. Okay. All right. Now, then, where is my little chalk? Now, one of the things to make the tree look like it's back in a to give it depth is to have plants that come out in front of it. Okay, so this is going to be the tree as it comes down. I'm going to leave all of this here, okay? Then there's another tree here that kind of comes over and touches it. And then this one's kind of going to go over that way, all right? So now that I've got it glued down, then, all right. Okay, and remember, trees aren't totally straight, so give your tree a little personality. Okay, I'm going to come in and cut this part out. Now, you can lay the fabric down and come in with a different fabric over it, but I really like doing what I call color blocking, which is getting the color there, and then I can refine it later. All right, we only have a few more minutes, and so I'm going to give you some things that you can get started on this next week. Also, if you belong to our groups IO, or anytime, just write me questions to that Our Time to Quilt at TWC. Oh, it came back. Yay. Okay. Is everyone there then? Everyone's still there. And Our Time to Quilt at TWC.com. And feel free, good, yay! Feel free to write and ask me questions because I love being there to help. All right. Now, I'm going to switch to another tree color. And anytime you can see a shop that has any kind of tree fabric, grab it. Because that's, grab just little bits. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Grab it. It goes a long way. So grab what you can. Okay. I think for the rest of the tree, that tree, oh, now this would look really cool down near the base too. But I would want a very dark part. And this is where I'm going to start differentiating these two trees. I can't do them. They're not twins. And each tree is going to have its own personality because it's got shadows falling on it. It's got different plant life than the other one. So now I might come in with this. All right. And I purposely chose a very dark and mottled. Okay. And I'm going to have this fabric go long over it too. Or do I want to I might put this back here on this tree that's even more into the shade. Oh, that's cool. And so what I probably would do too is cut the fabric at an angle to where it's darker at the back than the front because you think, how can I seam these together? And if it's, yeah, there we go. Something like that I think is good. We know it'll be darker over here. The sun's going to be over here in the light. Let me grab a paper towel. I keep a roll of paper towels down here because I'm always doing something a little messy. All right. So now let me draw this tree line. And I almost bought another one of these today, but they were $8.99 at the sewing machine repair shop. And I thought, oh, that's a little much for me. But I've had this thing for 20 some years and I love it. I just finally got a refill of the chalk powder for it, but it's so easy to use. Okay, so now I'm coming up on this one. All right. So there we go. We've got the two fabrics for this one. And we can come in here and do even more of a curve line if we want, or jiggly line to show like the bark. Now what I want to do is put more on this tree. And this might come in really handy. So let me get a big piece of this. And I love looking where I've already cut. Oh yeah, that's great, right along that edge. Okay, so I'm going to come up, I'm just going to cut along here and then make a cut here and just pull off a piece a little bit wider than what I need because I'd rather cut it down. If you cut it too narrow, you've totally wasted it. So cut it a little bit wider and then you can trim off the excess. All right. And you know, one thing I was thinking is the trees would go in a little bit more towards the top. And I think they don't do that as much as we'd like to think. Okay, this tree stays here in this place, and I'm trying not to use as much glue as I did last time. And this tree is going to go all the way up here. All right. And this is a different tree. That's a medium tree, so I'm going to ignore that. All right. Here we go with the rest. And I'm going to cut a wavy bottom on this one, like this. And I'm going to glue it right here. And then put it in place. Okay. So there I've got this. Then I'll come in with this and draw the tree. Now, I am not going to cut apart the bark where the branches come over it, where the leaves come over it. I'm not going to do that because that way the part of the wood can show through the trees. So, how is Kathleen Ziegler doing, hon? There's Cheryl Hogan. Hello. Okay, so I'll come on this side and draw loosely. And I'm not going to worry yet about making it too perfect. All right. So I am going to cut away the excess just so that it reminds you, yes, that is that tree. Okay, there's one side. And I might this can be saved for branches and stuff on another quilt. Or actually on the other side of this, I could use that. All right, now come over here. Trim this side down. So I'm very excited about Sunday. We're going to do some more work on the crumb fabric making. I have designed a free pattern I'm going to give you so that you can actually take your crumbs and make something pretty with it. And then I have been working, I'm going to show you some historic methods of making buttons that you can do. And because remember, they didn't have buttons. And when you hear about tortoiseshell, that was really from a turtle shell. So it's different ways. I used to do historic costuming. And so it's different ways that I've learned over time that people made buttons. Now, I kind of like this for this tree. I might go back and see if I can cut some more of that. I want to get it where it's nice and dark and brown. But I'm hoping you'll give this a try. This, if you've wanted to do one, but you've been a little nervous, it looks too difficult, this could be the one for you. Now, I'm trying to use the darker area of this, even if I have to make it in multiple pieces. Oh, and when you're looking, this is a batik. Turn it to the other side. See if the other side's a little darker, which it is. So now I'm going to glue this down this way. All right. My glue. My glue. All right. Now we have our original drawing. So I know, whoops, don't use too much glue. Now let me spread this out because I was putting too much on there. I don't want to waste it. Tacky glue is not the cheapest, but it sure is good. But feel free to use school glue. Just know it takes a little longer for it to really hold good. All right, so I'm going to put this here on this glue right there. All right, and real quickly, I'm going to trace this one and cut it out because I want to be able to hold this up and show you. Whoops, I did it on the wrong fabric. Okay, and here. Okay. And I do, just a little, trees aren't perfectly straight. So it's good to give them a little personality, maybe a knot hole where there was a branch that died and fell off. But just don't go straight up with them. There's nothing too regular about a tree. In fact, one of the reasons that the Americas were founded and settled is because they needed straight tall wood for ship masts. And Europe kind of was using up all theirs. And they came over here and found some of these pines, and they were amazed because they were original growth trees over here. It also helped they could grow tobacco here too, but the wood for the armadas and the Royal Navies and all that was very critical. All right, so just put this, glue this back down. Let's see what we've got. Hold on just a second, ladies. All right, so now we've got 2 of the foreground trees. We've got the path started, okay? And so what I'm going to be working on this week is laying in the rest of the trees. lay all the trees in first. And let me tell you why. Because the greenery and the branches are going to be on top of them. So remember we're blocking in color. I'm going to block in the ground here. Since this over here is going to be part of a hill, I'm going to put some browns in it. In fact, let me show you. That's why I drew this, to give you kind of some ideas. But I'm going to work a way to have a loamy forest floor kind of going up that hill. And then I will be cutting shrubbery, bushes, whatever kind of growth comes in there. So I'm going to lay all these trees out, even the one coming across. And if you notice by the pattern, the darker the tree, that's the foreground. The medium is the middle ground. The gray ones are going to be in the far background. Like this is going to be back in the background. But this is a main foreground tree. This is going to be in the background. So that's what I'm going to lay out. Once I lay the trees out, then I'm going to start the ground in the front on each side of the path, okay? Then next week, let's work on how can we lay in the rays of sun, the sunny brightness, that to really make it look like you're looking through the woods and there is a opening, a hollow in the woods where the sun can reach through, okay? And trust me, this one is going to be a pretty easy quilt for you to do. So any questions before I go today? Well, it actually is pretty easy. There are people like Cheryl have made wonderful landscape quilts here. And it's just, I'm trying to give you permission to play. Like when you were in kindergarten and you could pick up scissors and you could pick up construction paper and glue and just create. That's what I'm giving you the permission to do with this. And oh, you want to do a birch grove. Honey, that's wonderful. Oh, Deborah Donnell. Hi, beautiful lady. It is so good to see you. Oh, well, thank you. I love doing this. I love sharing this with you. I can't wait until next Thursday night, but I'm going to keep working on it so that we can pick up from here. And next Thursday, who knows how far we get, but I'm going to try to keep this one simple. This is going to be simple and easy, okay? Oh, you've been embroidering a wave. Oh, Alexis, I can't wait to see that. Oh, wow. All right. Well, I think if you don't have any other questions, I love the idea of a birch forest. That's really birch grove. And so what you would do when you have the birch trees that are in the background, you're going to want to kind of blur it down, okay? Kind of fuzz it out. So that's where you can use the tulle or you can use the back of the birch fabric. So you know what it is, but it's too far away. I'm going to close this glue really quickly because I can see me making a mess. And for some of you, I gave you a little hint at what we're going to be working on besides doing the historic ways to make buttons. I designed a quilt because we did some crumb quilt making. And I thought, well, we have to be able to do something with them. What good is a bunch of crumbs if they're just stuck in a box? So I will give you this free pattern. It's very easy foundation pattern. And I have 20-some versions of ways you can turn these 6-inch blocks and create so many different designs. There are so many ways, probably hundreds, that each person could have their own unique quilt if they wanted. All right, guys. Lots of pine trees in Texas. Texas pine trees are a lot of fun, too. You're right. In fact, over on the eastern part of your state, they have roses and pine trees. Okay. Any other questions? So I will put on our website the pictures that I used as research, and that way you can look at all of them and say what colors. Because remember that I have inspiration photos in orange, in gold, in yellow, in turquoise, in blue, and in purple and green. So you can do whatever colors you want. And if you can't get on our group or you're not a member of the group yet, just send me an email at our time to Quilt. And now I'll actually be able to get it. That'll be the best part. As I do use EQ8. Very good. Good eyes, Kathleen. I did. I wish I knew more about EQ8 than I do, but I'm getting there. I can usually kind of do what I'm thinking about, but I'll be able to tell you this. You can put whatever design you want, and I'll give you a great way to make that design. But I will also have a fabric sheet to tell you. This, I just pick colors out of the thing, but it'll tell you how much background you need. 3/4 of a yard. You can do that. It'll tell you the white solid, probably 1.5 yards of the white solid. And then I'll tell you like how many, and you'll be able to figure out because you're going to use your crumbs or scraps. So I'll make sure that you get the copy of the pattern. So that'll be Sunday. Oh, you can't get on there? Okay. So if you can't get on the website, do me a favor and jot me off an email to ourtimetoquilt@twc.com and I'll send you all of it. That's easy. I can just send them in an email and all the patterns and everything. All right, y'all. Well, take really good care of yourself. And I'll get back up tomorrow morning and go see the doctor again. It wasn't her fault that I went the wrong day. I tell you the truth. It's hard getting old, I tell you. So take good care. And Polly, I will be getting in touch with you, and we'll figure out when a good time is to sew. And if you want, bring your landscape quilt over, and we'll work on it together. That might be fun. Ooh, and I'm going to want to work on this pretty soon. So let's talk again. All right, is Linda here? Did anyone see Linda? Because I love our Linda. I didn't know. And Deborah Donnell, how cool to see you again. Vicki Lemire, hello, everybody. It is wonderful to see you. Thank you, Miss Edwinice, Miss Laura. All right, take good care. I will see you Sunday. And then next Thursday, let's get to work on this Misty Woodland quilt. Bye-bye, everybody. You're the best, okay? Bye-bye. Have fun.